Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Recommendation to approve accounts payable bills. Do we have any comments from the council on those bills? Payable?
I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
Who makes the motion? April. Ned, second. All in favor? We were intended to approve our 209 budget, but we've not been able to complete all of our information, and we've had to make some adjustments due to plant closings. So we will try to approve, to have our budget ready to approve at the next council meeting. So we will take no action on number 3. Number 4, recommendation to approve purchase of a fire truck at a cost of $300,000. Actual purchase date will depend on our budget constraints, and that depends on our approving our budget. Do I have a motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you. Recommendation to hire a firefighter for the fire department, and that hire date would, of course, depend on the budget constraints. So, do I have a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Second? All in favor? Recommendation to equalize the pay in the fire and police department, the top out pay in 5 years. We have some employee that's been hired with less time and others making more than those with longer longevity. So we're trying to bring existing employees to where they need to be in their pay scale. Do I have a recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Okay. Recommendation to hire a wastewater plant employee, and that hire date will depend on the budget. And one of the reasons for that, employees will have to work a year before they can actually take the test to be a certified operator. And we may have an employee to retire first quarter of next year, so we need to get this employee on board so they can be a licensed operator at the sewer plant. Do I have a motion? Any comment?
I'll make that motion, but that's something that we're gonna have to do. That's not,
Okay.
we just got to do that.
All right. May David made the motion?
I'll say. Yeah, I'll make it.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Recommendation to request a grant to extend the sewer water to the west side of the western exit. 2 reasons for that. Number 1, we need to develop that exit, and we can't until we get water and sewer on the west side of the exit. And number 2, the state is going to build a welcome center between mile markers 2 and 3 on the interstate, and it will be the county water department's responsibility to serve water for that facility. And in order for us to provide the county with water, we're going to have to get our sewer and water across that interstate. Do I have a motion or a discussion?
I'd like to have a little discussion, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Yeah.
This will depend on, us doing it's gonna depend on the grant.
Yes.
And if it's my understanding, there possibly will be some grant money available through the new administration in Washington for infrastructure type projects, and that's what we're hoping for on this.
Yes, that's
That
correct.
we'll get the money to do this project with some of that, infrastructure money that's supposed to be coming to cities and towns.
Yeah, that's part of our request. Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I said.
All in favor?
All right.
Recommendation to purchase a street making sign machine at a cost of $2,045. The machine we have now is so old we can't repair it, so we need a new sign making machine. So, do I have a motion? Okay, thank you. Second?
I'll say. That's
Oh.
something that we something else that we've got to have, because you can't get material for the old. Yeah,
Thank you. All right. Recommendation to change the traffic light. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. Recommendation to change the traffic light at Sports Gallery, Nelson Benson, Coffee Buzz Courthouse intersection, to a four-way stop, leaving the traffic light blinking red. We've had many requests to do that, so.
Did we have any derogatories?
No.
None
Had
whatsoever?
several positive comments, but no negative. It was in the paper and on the TV, and nobody called in about that negative side of it. So do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
And thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Recommendation to add a four-way stop at the Lawler Cove over by the church and the Green Highway on this side. We've had requests to make those four-way stops because of children at the daycare loading and unloading. So we had no negative comments from that in the paper, so.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, April. All in favor? Thank you. Recommendation, I think we've already handled this, but, to complete the computer tying interface, our police department computers, it's in the car, the interface with the state law enforcement computer system. And I think that total was $32,590. We paid some of that already, so we need to complete this project.
After we do this, that will complete what we need to do to tie in the state and everything that we need.
And tie into our court system too. The cars will be tied into the police cars, the court system, and the staff. The only thing that we'll have after we pay this is our annual maintenance fee. We will have annual maintenance on that.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Annette. All in favor? Right now, we are having some legal problems with a contract at Fulton Bridge, and we're going to enter into executive session. According to section 7A-3 of the Open Meetings Act, our attorney has suggested that we go into executive session to handle this matter, and do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Nick. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Do I need to adjourn to do that, or just?
Call it.
All right, encourage the guests to stay with papers for just a few minutes, okay? Recommendation to come out of executive session. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is anyone of our guests would like to speak. Please do so.
Okay, I have avoided this, unfortunately, but, seems like we're kind of forced to be here, or I am.
Would you give your name?
Oh, where do you want me to go stand? Over here? Talk to you? Okay. I'm Tina Vines, and I am here on behalf of the Humane Society and just as a concerned citizen. There's an issue that many of us aren't aware of, and it's much better to be ignorant of it, because once you find out, then you have to do something. So that's why I'm here. These pictures, and some of y'all have seen these and some of y'all have not, so I'll turn them around to you in a minute. These pictures are of animals that are here in Hamilton. It's basically a puppy mill. And I'm not really going to say where it is. I'm not going to, there's really no point. The main thing is, it is going on. This little animal right here is on top of another animal who is using the bathroom, and it just kind of falls down. What he's not sitting in, the others are sitting in down below him. This is another one that's outside. His hair's all matted. He has no water. There's water in this old tire here, but I'm not sure he can get his head through there to get it. This is the garage in which some of them are being housed. There's probably, at this time, there was about 15. This was around Thanksgiving when these pictures were taken. There were about 15 in the garage that weekend. This right here is a little Yorkie who, you can't see his eyes because they're matted together because his hair's matted. I'll pass these up there for y'all. This is another picture of some that are in the garage. This shows that there's no water for these here. It also shows the feces and stuff just all under here. They're all purebreds. So it's basically a puppy mill, and a puppy mill is defined as someone who is breeding animals for a profit and cares more about the profit than they do the animals. And this fits perfectly. These were two that Jared Stidham and Kenneth Lawley had to come out and meet me there one night with Dr. Rice had called and said, they can't be out in this kind of weather. I think it was going to be like 12 that night. It was back 1st of December. So these two were sitting out in the open cage in the open yard. So Kenneth, Jarrett, and I had to drag them into the garage, which was that lovely picture over there. Anyway, at least they were out in the cold that night. This is just another pen. There's probably 10 or 15 different little pens in different areas. These actually have it pretty good because even though they are outside, there are not anybody else on top of them. So that's a plus. Here's an empty water bowl. That's how most of them were empty. This right here is a picture of one of the shelters, if you want to call it that. It's basically a tarp that has two legs. And when the wind gets on it, under it, the little dogs sit on top of it. These are little Yorkies, Chihuahuas, little bitty dogs. So when the wind hits it, they just go flying. The dogs go flying through the air. Then they hit and try to get back under it. Here's some that are just loose. I think this one right here is Molly. She was, or is, an Australian Shepherd that didn't mate with the appropriate male, I assume. Therefore, she was, when her puppies were born, she was given to Dr. Rice because I guess she just didn't want her. There's about 35 dogs there at the moment, and I've sent these pictures at one time. It was around December 1st, and I was hoping that maybe, I guess that the humane thing would do to say this isn't exactly how we would like anyone to be treated, animal or anything. So, could something be done? Jarrett, Kenneth, and I were out there around December the 5th. That was when we were there that night to drag some of the dogs back in. The lady has made some effort. I would hate to judge, but I'm not comfortable with the effort. So that right there is pretty much standard. The pictures that I have shown you. I guess the reason I'm here is because if you see it, you can't ignore it. So what I want is y'all to help me figure out some way to help her, because it's not very humane for these animals, and they have no control over it. And we do, as citizens, we have control. We can say, you know, we don't accept that. So that's what I'm wanting to see. Can we possibly have? And Scott has helped me some. I think he's done some work. So come back on this way.
Scott, would you like to address this issue, please? Time we have taken steps since we talked and since you emailed those to us.
Okay.
It's limited to what the town can do, but we can work with the state, and I'm gonna let Scott go ahead and discuss that with you, and for the information of others here. So, Scott, if you would talk about it.
Sure. As we've discussed, and we've discussed with the Humane Society some as well, there, in certain situations, I believe this might qualify in state law. There are certain things we can do, and we've taken one of those steps with our officers going out and speaking with her and demanding certain courses of action. My understanding is our officers have been back out there today, may not have been able to speak with her today, but going back out there tomorrow, and to give her a very short deadline to complete the action we requested of her, at least last week. And otherwise, we can make charges against her. And that's not a course of action anyone necessarily wants to have happen. The concern we also have is there's a limited amount, even if she's found guilty, of what can be done with the dogs in this case. You know, I don't think anyone wants to see the lives of the dogs taken because she's not able to take care of them. But, hopefully that's where this maybe some concerned citizens can come up and help stop something, what to do with them. But that's where the city is.
So we're on a 7-day waiting period right now. So next Monday, which is what, 15th, 12th, we will go back out there, and we being a police umbrella.
Our law enforcement officers.
And-
If she has not complied, then so
Okay, can you explain comply? What's she trying to do?
I had to talk with the officer to get exactly what he requested of her. That,
Scott,
basically
may I interject? He was gonna give her a week to have the dogs removed. So that, the way I understand it right now, that's what we're gonna do, is demand a time certain for those dogs to be taken care of.
I mean, the dogs aren't the problem, it's the care they are being given, that's the problem. I mean,
Thank
you know, if she can clean them, I don't care if she has 100, you know, I just don't wanna see them standing on top of all that. Day after day after day, they can't get out, can't go anywhere, they're stuck there. And if they do get out, the first thing they do is hit the pond, because they're thirsty, because most of them don't have water. So, I mean, I really don't want anything to happen to her, but I do want something to happen to the dogs. So,
Thank you.
call you back in a week?
Yeah.
We'll touch base in a
Any
week.
council member have any comment, please, on that issue? Does any other guest have anything that you want? Yes, sir.
My name is Ed Mentor, and I would like to say that I live in a neighborhood of this situation, and we talk about humane care of dogs. I only have 3, and as an owner, I do accept the responsibility of reasonable care for those animals. Okay, the care of these animals is atrocious to begin with, but that's an issue. But my concern is a health issue. Dr. Susan Rice has been out there, our veterinarian's been out there and looked at that. My concern is what can happen about the health issues that they exist out there currently with not being clean, first of all. Nothing is being done to remove the waste. That's bacteria. That comes with sores, and is it going to affect other dogs in the neighborhood? And now I realize, in the last administration, we had commonly ordinance we call the barking dog issue. It came up, and then it came from the barking dog to the vicious dog ordinance. Does the vicious dog, the city can take action on this. is it not, now that you're aware of this situation, and I understand now that there's no trespassing signs that have been put up so nobody can come out there to see this, well, why would they do that if they're doing something wrong? I will not go out there and look at it, because as a private citizen, that could escalate into a situation that I do not want, and I'm sure they don't want. What I'm asking is that this council, if what China has presented is confirmed, could we not have an ordinance, a reasonable ordinance, to prevent things of this in the future? Because this is a serious situation. This is not a neighbor against a neighbor. We're talking about a health issue, and that my concern is the health issues surrounding this. And if they get away with this, or we have no ordinance for this, we can't do nothing, what is this going to escalate to somewhere else? Now, this is in the city limits. We're not talking about county. We're talking about inner city limits. And I would certainly like to request that when everything is brought before you again, such as the findings, evidence, whatever, that you take a careful look at this and consider an ordinance to prevent things like this from happening in the future, so that we don't have to address this issue again. Because it's serious.
Thank you for your comments, and I think I can safely say for all the council that we're deeply concerned about this. And as Scott has told you, there's some legal hoops, I guess, we've got to jump through. But we're going to take this to the financial finish and make sure it's handled properly. And we do not have an ordinance in place that can address that type of problem. But we'll look into drawing up an ordinance. We'll get with Scott and see what we need to do. But there's a lot of things that we could do quickly, but on the other hand, we don't have the budget or the finances to do it. But that's the reason we're trying to work with the state, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, to get them involved with us to help solve this issue. And then maybe in the future, we can draw up an ordinance that will address it. But we do have a good vicious dog ordinance, I think, and we're bringing that to bear on some cases. But this one falls outside of that, so. But I can assure you, we want to try to help those animals and do what we can do. And we'll keep you posted as what happens. Anyone else have comment? Council members? Comment on anything? Mike Davis?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. I think you made the motion to adjourn.
Yes.
The second, who's second? Okay, all in favor? Council adjourned. Thank you.